Okay, yesterday we were continuing about Mechiras Chametz. The way you have to do it in a special way. We discussed about whether we sell the kelim or not. And we pointed out that we do sell the kelim, and nevertheless you still don't have to put them back into the mikveh after Yom Tov. Now, we mentioned yesterday that you don't sell the chametz to the rabbi, you're just appointing him, your agent, to sell your chametz for you. And therefore you don't need to wait until the last minute, because whenever you sign up, you're basically making him an agent that Erev Pesach, he could sell the chametz for you. Now, when you come to the rabbi to sell the chametz, there's a lot of, technically, the mere fact that you let him know that you want to sell the chametz is good enough. Some people dafka want to write the name on the document, which is even better. Some people want to make a kinyan with a handkerchief, but again, all these things, as if you write down your name, you really don't need a handkerchief. Some people want to do the handkerchief, then if you do the handkerchief, you don't have to write down your name, whatever it is. The main thing is, you tell the rabbi that you want to sell the chametz for you, wherever it may be. We discussed if you're going out of town, you have to sell it in the place you're going to, if it's a later time, unless if you sell it, like we said, we do a mechir a day earlier, so then people go into Eretz could sell it here. But, okay, now, how does the Rav sell the chametz to the guy? Now, there's a lot of different complications in selling chametz to the guy. Therefore, we learned that you can't just do it on your own. If you do it on your own, you're definitely not going to end up selling the chametz properly, and you're going to end up owning the chametz still, and then you're going to be able by your own, by your matzah. Not only that, the chametz will be also to benefit from even after Pesach. Okay, so in fact, there's an interesting Neder B'Yehuda. We mentioned this every year, but the Neder B'Yehuda is brought down. He was a Rav of Prague. He would write down all the Jews in the city on his document, whether they came or not. And why? Because there's a din in halacha, zachan la'adam shalei b'fanav. You could do something good for somebody, even if he doesn't know about it, or not in front of him. To do something negative, ein chabad la'adam ela b'fanav. To do something negative to a person, that you have to do in front of his face. But we assume that something good, the person doesn't mind if you do it without him knowing about it. So because it's halachically beneficial for a Jew to sell his chametz, because then he doesn't have to throw everything out. So the Neder B'Yehuda wrote, in his document, he had a list of all the Jews, and he wrote everybody's name in the Shtar Mechira that he sold to the guy.
What if the Jew is secular?
Okay, so now the question is a very good point. What happens if somebody sells a chametz of a non-religious Jew? And the non-religious Jew is going to be eating chametz on Pesach, or buying chametz during Pesach, or he's going to have a store that's open during Pesach, selling chametz. So the question in halacha is, does the fact that he sells or uses chametz during Pesach, does that nullify the sale? Or the sale stays a sale? What he did was he took from the guy. So that's two opinions in halacha. The Rebbe and Rabbi Yosef Shusterman also has a tshuva about this. They hold that the selling stays a sale. It still remains a sale. And therefore, all you have to do is deal with the guy later with taking without permission or whatever it may be. Okay? But the sale remains a sale, which is, by the way, a very practical din. Because if the sale is null and void, that means all his chametz you can benefit from. Anything in the store, anything in the liquor distributor, you know what I mean, or the manufacturer of the liquor. But now that if you sell the chametz, okay, what they sell, they sell. But what they don't sell is not chametz of a Pesach. The only thing, the problem is, if they buy chametz during Pesach. Let's say the store sells chametz, right? So now, when they sell the chametz, it's only valid for the chametz you owned when Pesach began. Chametz, a guy in the middle of Pesach buys chametz, so that's definitely not included in the sale. How could it be included in the sale? So over there, the din is that chametz taka is forbidden to benefit from. Now, the problem is you don't know. One second. So there is a din in Shulchan Aruch that because the forbidden Isser Chametz of Pesach is rabbinic, so therefore many times halacha is a rabbinic doubt is lenient. So if somebody doesn't know, is it Chametz Sha'ava of a Pesach or not? So there are many times you could be makel, not every time though. You can't always be makel. What?
But if it's an individual Jew, let's say, not a store, let's say an individual Jew, and he eats his chametz in Pesach,
Right.
so you get to throw it all out.
Well, if he's eating hummus and during Pesach, he's not too worried about throwing it out after Pesach either, yeah. Okay, so now the question is, let's discuss how does the guy acquire chametz. Okay, now, there's different acquisitions in halacha, how you acquire things. There's tangible items, there's land, or things connected to land, right? So tangible items are basically not acquired with money. It's a whole argument to Gemara, but I'm saying bottom line halacha. Tangible items you don't acquire only with money. You either have to pick it up or pull it or other kinyanim. But mois, the money is not necessarily kaina metaltalin. Metaltalin means movable items. Land, on the other hand, how do you buy land? Land you buy with money or a document or a chazaka, right? It could be acquired with doing something in the land that shows ownership or writing a deed of sale or money. Money acquires land. But now the question is like this. When it comes to chametz, you have a loaf of bread, okay? Now, that loaf of bread is in the shtar, right, selling your chametz. Now, how in the world is the guy going to acquire that loaf of bread in your house? Even if he gives me money, but money is not going to acquire it. So how does the guy halachically acquire the chametz? He doesn't go to everybody's house and pick up everybody's chametz, right? So how does he acquire the chametz? So there's a lot of different things going on over here. Number one, the guy gives, okay, let's do another thing. Let's say you're selling chametz that's worth, let's say for a lot of people, you're selling it's worth maybe $100,000. Okay? The guy out of Pesach is not giving you $100,000 to buy the chametz. So what does he do? He puts down a down payment. Correct? He puts down a down payment. It's $100,000. He gives you, let's say, okay, $100 down payment for the $100,000 of chametz. What's with the rest? But he owes you $99,900. He still owes you. So in halacha it says zakva olav b'milveh. It's a loan. Now you lent him the money. You lent him $9,900, and then he has to pay you back the money. It's a loan. But meanwhile, halachically, this is what they say: he paid you the whole loan. The problem with that is, according to the Alter Rebbe, that many Rishonim hold that a loan to acquire things with a guy is not going to acquire it. So Shita Mekubetzes, there's a lot of Rishonim that weren't printed in those days, so they probably didn't know about it. That there are many Rishonim that were printed, and they said Zakav Olav B'milveh doesn't help by a guy. Okay, so again, how's the guy going to acquire everybody's chametz? So what happens according to the Alter Rebbe shtar is like this: he puts down the down payment for the chametz. Then you have what's called an Arif Kablan. Okay, now let me explain this. We'll go through these kinyanim. It's very general kinyanim. It's very important to know, generally speaking. When I lend you money, I lend you $1,000. I don't trust you because we're both Jewish. So I asked you for a guarantor. Right? Give me a guarantor. So he will be the guarantor. I'm going to lend you $1,000. You'll be the guarantor. Comes the time of the debt. So what happens? Halachically, I don't go straight to you. I don't go straight to the guarantor. I go to the borrower, right, and say, you owe me $1,000, pay up. Ainli, ich hab nicht, I don't have, or whatever language you say that in. So then I can go to the guarantor. But I can't first go to the guarantor. I first go to you. You don't have the money, then you guarantee the loan. You have to pay me, right? Then you go back to him and get the money later, whatever. There's another type of guarantor that's called Arif Kablan. Arif Kablan also, you guarantee the loan. But Arif Kablan means I don't even go to you. I go straight to him. Arif Kablan means I lent you the money. He is the Arif Kablan. I don't even go to you. I go straight to him.
But does he pay the money?
He has to pay the money.
No, but you go straight to the guarantor essentially.
Yeah.
So who's paying? Is the guarantor putting up the money? Why is the other guy even involved?
No, he has to pay eventually pay back the guarantor.
Oh, but you don't even.
I don't deal with the lender. I deal straight with the guarantor. That's called Arif Kablan. So the Alter Rebbe's brainstorm, Chiddush of Mechiras Chametz is that for the other $9,900, I have an Arif Kablan. In other words, Poskim right, if I lend the guy money, God forbid you're not going, but if you're the guy, let's say, and I'm lending you the money, so that's not good enough to acquire tangible items. Because by a guy, the Rishonim right, Zakabal of B'milva doesn't help. So what do I gain? I make him, a Jew, the guarantor, and I go straight to him. So basically, the guy, as far as the loan is concerned, is out of the picture. Just like I can acquire something from a Jew through a loan, and then he acquires the object, he just has to pay me back the loan. So that's what happens with the Chametz. Okay, so that's what the Alter Rebbe's Chiddush is on. Huh? It's a genius idea. And in Poland, they all did that. So a lot of people do it. Some poskim write, you don't need to do it. There's a lot written on the Alter Rebbe's brother and some Chesed. Okay, so this is one thing you do. Okay? Now, what's interesting though, the guy that's the Arif Kablan, if I use him as an Arif Kablan, he can't sell me his Chametz. Because then for you, there's no Arif Kablan for your Chametz. Right? So the Arif Kablan has to be somebody that doesn't sell the Chametz to me. He doesn't sell the Chametz, because if he sells the Chametz to me, he's part of the sale. So how can he... So then he loses out that Chiddush. So then the din is that you have to... The Arif Kablan is somebody that doesn't sell the chametz to that particular Rav. Or somebody that doesn't have chametz, whatever the situation is.
With all the signatures that you get, it only has to be one guy you sell to? Or
One guy.
just one?
You have thousands and thousands and thousands of documents. It's all sold to one guy. The rabbi is the agent for 1,000 people, let's say, right? But he's one agent dealing with the guy, but he's representing 1,000 people. So the guy gives you a down payment, the rest you have Arif Kablan. But still, money might not acquire tangible items. So there's another thing you do, and that is, there's another kinyan that's called kinyan agav karka. If I acquire land from you, I can automatically acquire, by acquiring the land, I can acquire the metautel and the tangible items on the land. If I acquire land from you, and I want to buy not only the land, but the tables, let's say you buy a building. Yeah, I'm buying the land and the tables. So when you acquire the land, all the tangible items could automatically be included in the sale.
Can be, if you work it out.
If you want to. Yeah, if I'm not selling you the table, you don't do it. But if I want to sell you the tables, by selling you the building, or renting you the building, you can automatically acquire this. It's called kinyan agav karka. Now what happens over here is like this. So now what do you do also by the guy? You're renting to the guy all the places that the chametz is on. So not only are you selling the chametz itself to the guy, you're selling the land, you're renting. You're renting to the guy all the land that the chametz is on. Therefore, when he acquires the rental, and again, he gives a down payment for the rental also, right? And the order of Kabbalah is the order of Kabbalah for everything. So he gives you a down payment for the land. So by acquiring the rental, the land as a rental, automatically all the chametz is acquired by him. To be continued.